I am not going to try to kid you kids. It is cold up here. Purr, boo, hiss. I am a Southern California boy, and I'm not used to wrapping up in wools. But weather notwithstanding, this is a great trip. We are in Nevada City, California, where once a year they turn the clock back to an era when top hats was the fashion rage. Ladies wore long flowing skirts, and roasting chestnuts over an open fire was, well, just a taste treat that you couldn't be denied. They're celebrating a Victorian Christmas, and we've been invited to the soiree. Nevada City, California, not to be confused with Nevada City, Nevada, is a picturesque setting, nestled among tall pines and dotted with Victorian homes, many of which are historical buildings. This rustic community could have found its way onto a Norman Rockwell canvas. Nicknamed the Carmel of the Sierra Foothills, Nevada City has a host of annual events, and none are more popular than their Victorian Christmas celebration. The streets are closed off to traffic as the town turns the clock back to an era that embraces the values of a turn-of-the-century holiday celebration.
We have an old-fashioned street fair that reflects the era in which this town was established, which is the mid-1800s, and they form the town architecture forms a lovely backdrop for our street fair event. It has been known as the premier holiday event in Northern California, and we love hearing that.
The National Hotel feels right at home during this soiree. After all, it's been around for more than 130 years. Recently remodeled, the hotel suites are furnished with antiques from the Gold Rush era. And its large dining room serves up a fantastic breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I got to admit, they make one of the best apple pies I've ever had.
There are 3 national hotels in California. This being the most famous in that it's been in continuous operation for over 155 years. It was established in 1852 in a different location, but moved into this location in 1861. And it moved into a single building. Right now it consists of 4 separate buildings that were not designed as a hotel, but the hotel grew into the buildings. As their business increased, they acquired the adjoining property and converted it into a hotel. And it's been in operation for all that time. It was really the hub and the center of the city for a good number of years, and still is to a certain point. And it's been quite a financial success for Nevada City to have Victorian Christmas. All the buildings are outlined in white Christmas lights, and the church is really lit up on all its various corners and emphasis with white Christmas lights. And really at night it really makes a very inviting Christmas feeling when you come into town at night. The hotel participates by also doing its part to decorate the exterior part of the building. It makes it a point to, shall we say, put out their specialty drink of hot buttered rum. And the recipe is a secret, and it's made here on the premises. And the recipe, to give you a little hint, no one under the age of 21 can use the recipe because of its contents.
It is so good to see you. I don't know if you remember. You do remember me.
It's been a year almost.
It has been a year.
It has been. Good to see you again.
I'm kind of curious, what side of the list am I on this year?
You want to take a wild guess?
Oh, boy.
Does the word coal come to mind?
Well, you know, there's good news and bad news. At least
know.
it may match the one you gave me last year.
It probably will. I took a picture of it, and I'm looking for, well, the elves are looking for one right now.
Speaking of the elves, will you
Yes.
tell them I said hi?
I will do that.
Bunch of great guys. They know how to party. They
You're out
really
there.
do.
My elves party?
Uh-oh, I think I let the cat out of the
Now they're in
bag.
trouble. Now they're in trouble. I'll go ahead and talk to them tonight.
Hey, listen, I got some things to tell you about some of my co-workers that you may
Okay.
want to add to your list.
Okay.
And while I'm telling you about who's been naughty and who's been nice,
Yeah.
we'll take a short break and we'll be right back with more Christmas celebration right here in Nevada City,
Merry
California.
Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Now, I want to tell you about my boss,
Okay.
Bobby, okay? You got to put him on that naughty side.
Okay, I'll do that, just for you.
You're a good man. You're a good
Thank
guy.
you. I will.
Give me a fist, Santa.
I'll
Boom.
do that. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Have a Merry
Come
Christmas.
Back. Okay.
Good to see you, sir. Next up, a winter wonderland turns into a white nightmare as one of the worst storms of the decade hits Nevada. By the way, there was this really nice family that pulled up a minute ago by the name of Donner. They said they wanted me to come over and have me for dinner. Be right back.
That's why we have the crepes that you saw. And interestingly enough, it's become the second most popular dish that we do.
We hand decorate all our truffles with different colored chocolates or different coffee beans or almonds, whatever the flavor is.
This is a fun little town to take a stroll in. And I got to tell you, I think Norman Rockwell would have really loved Nevada City, California. And among the things they have here that I dearly love are mom and pop restaurants. Right here we have a place, let me guess, their specialty may be crepes, because it's got this big, huge banner that says crepes and hot chocolate. And I'd say that sounds like an ideal combination on a very brisk day. Let's find out how good they are.
So the French have had a tremendous impact here, and we've studied and learned that in 1860, 20% of the population of San Francisco was French. So the French have been very active here, and Genevieve came here like many other French people did, not knowing what she was going to do or what was going to happen, but she just had to come here. So she did, and we met and married and had a child and came to Nevada City because we wanted a better place to raise our son. And bought this restaurant. We took the menu that had been here for 50 years, literally. This place has been in operation continually as a breakfast and lunch restaurant for almost 60 years now. And we added the French influence, and so that's why we have the crepes that you saw. And interestingly enough, it's become the second most popular dish that we do. Second most. Crepes and eggs and for breakfast, right behind bacon and eggs.
Well, at the risk of going into carb overload, I'm going to sweeten the tour a bit with a visit to the truffle shop. Featuring row after row of chocolate-covered decadence, these made-by-scratch treats are a candy lover's dream come true.
Well, I've been mixing the truffles now for about 23 years, and I've tried to work with the idea of different tones for flavor and where the flavors hit in your palate. I like to work with a real high tone and then a low undertone so that the product creates an excitement in your mouth of different flavors and different experiences. Well, this is like old world dipping, where we have a big vat of chocolate over hot water, and then we seed the chocolate with tempered chocolate. And then when you get the temper, you can start adding more warmth to it. The advantage of this is that with the machines, a lot of times you can't keep up with the volume that you're producing. With this, you always have chocolate on hand, and you have a lot of it.
One of their signature pieces is the ginger truffle. It's named the Imperial Dragon for the hand-drawn dragon that's layered onto the top of each and every truffle.
A truffle is a ganache made with chocolate and cream, and then I use different liqueurs or different flavorings, and then it's enrobed in a chocolate, and then we hand decorate all our truffles with different colored chocolates or different coffee beans or almonds, whatever the flavor is. The different designs designate the flavors.
Well, I've actually always enjoyed cooking, but I'd never figured that I'd ever get into doing something special like working with chocolates until I met Willem here. Nevada City didn't have a candy shop really per se that made truffles, so we started doing it. It wasn't easy because you had to sell people on the idea of what it was, and it's not it's an expensive product to begin with, so you have to try to sell people on the idea of trying it. But once they had the taste in their mouths, they knew exactly what it was, and so it was just definitely word of mouth after that. It started growing in the town, and then it is a tourist town, so there was a lot of people coming through trying it once, and then we decided, well, let's just do mail orders so we can keep in contact with everybody. And from then on, it just flourished.
Had I known what Old Man Winter had up his sleeve, I would have snagged a few extra truffles for the road. Or maybe I should say, for the side of the road. Coming up, a freak storm tests Nevada City's Yuletide spirit and mine. Don't go away! We'll be right back for this fantastic holiday celebration. I think I see Santa over there. He's putting chains on his reindeer. It's so bad.
We are working with a lot of world-renowned gem carving artists, and through their work and our goldsmiths' talents, we have some one-of-a-kind pieces that mix multicolors of different gem materials in some real creative ways.
Boy, that Terry, he's a great host. I think Santa's all wrong about him. I think he's really one of the good guys. Well, thank you, Frosty. I do appreciate that. Welcome back, everybody, as me and my buddy Frosty here continue our look at the Victorian Christmas right here in Nevada City, California. I appreciate those kind words. Listen, if I give you Nick's phone number, will you give him a call?
Santa Claus, you will know the best.
Just hours before Nevada City was preparing to welcome visitors to its annual Victorian Christmas celebration, a vicious snowstorm blanketed the roads, accompanied by bitter cold winds and bone-chilling temperatures. Normally, these streets would be packed with visitors and scores of costume performers. But on this eve, Ma Nature was having a real bad hair day, freezing even my microphone. Nevertheless, those that braved the cold air and icy roads did their best to muster up a smile and soldier on, proving that the Christmas spirit, no matter what the weather, is alive and well in Nevada City.
What we are is a handcrafting goldsmithing shop. We've been in business here since 1974, and we've recently remodeled our facility to bring in more of our local history. We've got mining equipment on display here. We've got working goldsmiths that have always been part of our environment. We have natural gold from this area that we use in our products, and we think we're real proud of this town, and we're showing it off in a nice light. Well, one of the native materials that we use here is gold-bearing quartz, and that's the white quartz with natural gold veining in it, and we decorate a lot of our pieces with a main stone of that and maybe some local gold nuggets that comes out of the rivers and streams. That's been a main line for us ever since we opened. And then we are working with a lot of world-renowned gem carving artists, and through their work and our goldsmiths' talents, we have some one-of-a-kind pieces that mix multicolors of different gem materials in some real creative ways. You won't see them anywhere else.
At At each turn of the corner, homes are aglow with lights and decorations, expressing the spirit of the season in their own unique way. The personality of the town is reflected in each glowing bulb, making a stroll around town impossible to resist, even in the freezing cold. During the town's Victorian Christmas event, various inns open their doors inviting locals and visitors alike to take a tour of the property and sample a variety of homemade treats and possibly a mug of hot chocolate as well.
The tour is a welcoming of the public to our inn. Although people do rent rooms from the public and come into the inn, this is an opportunity for a lot of the locals to come and visit something that is in their community they don't get a chance to see on a regular basis. We try and show them what it is that we provide to our guests and welcome them as well as other guests into our home. In the end, I think the most important thing is that it is our home. This is a place where we live, so we try and make our guests feel as comfortable as someone else. So even though there might be antiques and beautiful things to see and a lot of different decorations, we do welcome people to touch, to taste, and to smell, because that's how you experience a home.
Okay, I'm trying to thaw out my lips to do a toss to break. It is that cold, but it's still a good time. I think we're going to head over to the place where they're roasting chestnuts over an open fire and try to get warm. And while I wander in that direction, let's take a short time out, but don't you dare go away, because there's more fun to be had right here at the Victorian Christmas party in Nevada City, California. See, I told you it was cold. I am freezing up here.
The Emma Nevada House is a Victorian house from the 1850s, and we serve a full breakfast in the morning, composed often of soufflés and a warm fruit dish like a baked pear or something like that as a preceder.
A short stroll from the center of town sits the Emma House, and this is where I stayed during my visit to Nevada City.
Welcome to the Emma Nevada House here in Nevada City. We have 7 rooms, 3 upstairs and 3 downstairs, and we serve a fabulous breakfast in the morning, and we hope you'll take the opportunity to come and visit Nevada City, because we think it's the nicest little town in the northern gold country. Nevada House is a Victorian house from the 1850s, and we serve a full breakfast in the morning, composed often of soufflés and a warm fruit dish like a baked pear or something like that as a preceder. We have 7 rooms. We have king-size rooms with jacuzzi whirlpools. We have queen-size rooms, and we have some rooms with a couple of extra beds for families with children.
Inviting and warm, the Emma Nevada House is decorated in a turn-of-the-century style, complete with an array of authentic antiques from the owner's private collection. Each piece in the collection has a unique story behind how it wound up in its current location. And inn owners, Andrew and Susan Howard, will be more than happy to explain the history behind the various artifacts throughout the house. There are 3 rooms on the main floor, including Nightingale's Bower. This cheerful room features a beautiful antique bedroom set, king-size bed, large bay window, and a sitting area. They also have a television, a fireplace, and a jacuzzi tub and shower. Considered the most romantic room is the Empress Chamber, a regal room in ivory and burgundy, featuring a large wall of windows and a sitting area, an antique king-size bed, and jacuzzi tub and shower. Back in town, the celebration continues as a few brave troubadours strum their guitars with gloved fingers, doing their very best to entertain the thinning crowd as temperatures continue to sink faster than the Titanic. One of the most popular spots was the fire pit, where you could not only get warm, but you could also sample a few roasted chestnuts to boot.
This is what a chestnut looks like, only they come in different sizes and different shapes. This happens to be empty, but they've got a real prickly husk, and then on the inside, they have a nut like this. I would say hot. Hot. It's good. The settlers would grind them up and make bread or flour to make their pastas or whatever. So this is what they would use to grind their as a staple. So, and during the winter, we all know we need food in the winter, so they would grind them up and use it as a staple for their journey over the Donner Summit, rather than eating chestnuts than other things.
The perfect complement to a Victorian Christmas is an old-style carriage ride through town.
Well, it's the same carriage they would have used during Victorian times, and our drivers, of course, are dressed in Victorian costume. And our horses are the kinds of horses they used back in the middle 1800s. So December is always a very important month for us, and the Christmas celebration is extra special.
Well, I am literally strolling around in a winter wonderland. And what would Christmas be without a little snow? Makes for some great snowball fights, and it adds to the perfect atmosphere for a holiday tour. Speaking of, we do hope you've had a great time with us as we've toured around the Victorian Christmas. And before I go inside and warm up with a cup of hot chocolate, I'd like to thank you and yours for joining us on this holiday season, and I do wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy Holiday. Until we see each other next time, I'm Santa's best friend and little helper, Terry Wilson. Drive safely. Nice holiday, everybody.